Good afternoon. This is Ralph Fusatola, JD. I'm the legal director of the Natural Solutions Foundation, and I have with me today my good friend and collaborator, Dr. Rima E. Lebo, MD, medical director of the foundation. I want to introduce today with Dr. Rima a very important white paper that she has just published on masking. And of course, this paper is so important that we are going to be giving it away. We want you to have this information. Over 50 citations showing the truth about the safety and efficacy of various types of masks in the declared pandemic world. Dr. Rima, tell us about the masking ebook.
I want to first make clear that there is a huge difference between what you're told and what science says. And frequently when politics is driving policy and politics is driving the misrepresentation of science, fake science news, if you will, citations are implied. You are told to trust the source because after all, they're authoritative, they're employed by the federal government, they're on television, so you have to trust them, right? No, indeed, you do not. In something as politically volatile as the coronavirus alleged pandemic, you can't trust anything that you hear from mainstream media because mainstream media are controlled media outlets. And you can't trust anything that you hear from, that you read in scientific journals unless you know that the source of the money that paid for the study is not an interested source like a pharmaceutical company. In other words, we're living in an environment of carefully crafted lies, also known as fake news, to drive your behavior, and it's generally not in a good direction. Now, if that be conspiracy theory, so be it, because it's theory based on fact.
And talking about facts, Dr. Rima, of course, your ebook is set up specifically to counter fact-checking by a major media outlet that has issued what it claims is the authoritative
Exactly.
on masking. And of course, the purpose of the white paper is to bring truth to that discussion.
Exactly. If you want to put on a mask, you can. If you don't want to put on a mask, you have the right not to. And you might make that decision based on science, real science. So when I saw a USA Today fact check journalism piece about masking, and I saw that it was sponsored by Facebook, I thought, well, this is interesting. And I started reading it. And there are 12 items in the USA Today fact check journalism sponsored by Facebook piece. And my teeth began to hurt. It was so filled with lies, not just incorrect conclusions, which might be unintentional lies, but actual distortions of reality. And I felt impelled to take on each one of their alleged facts and provide the scientific substantiation that would either confirm it, didn't happen, or confound it, show that it was untrue. So the assertions are things like masking is fine, it's not harmful for most people. That's an untrue assertion. In fact, masking for at least 54% of the population of the United States who have diagnoses that make masking specifically dangerous for them is a really bad idea. Another assertion is masking prevents the spread of viral disease. Studies for decades about viruses the same size as the COVID-19 virus showed conclusively that masking, whether it's with an N95 FDA-approved respirator or whether it's a dish towel or a bandana or whatever the hell it is, that masking does nothing to prevent the spread of viral disease, and in fact, increases the spread of viral disease. Whoa. And these are strong scientific studies and meta-analyses where they group many studies together and they throw out the ones that are methodologically weak and just look at the strong studies. The conclusion is inescapable. Masking does nothing to prevent disease, increases disease, and is bad for an awful lot of people. Now, there were two assertions, two fact checks that seem to be true, both of them non-scientific. One, that Democrats, including Nancy Pelosi, were not wearing masks, but the photograph that's substantiating that was taken in December, and now they seem to be wearing masks. No science at all involved in that. And the fact that Mike Pence did not deliver empty mask boxes to some hospital somewhere. Jimmy Kimmel edited that video to make it look that way, and then that video was removed. Again, no science. But when we get to the science, there is none to support masking. People are rabid about how important it is to mask. And, everybody's entitled to be rabid about something, and people are entitled to be wrong. The fact is, they are rabid and they are wrong. There is no science supporting the use of masking in this circumstance. There is good science supporting the use of masking to make people anxious and to decrease their immune function. That's not a good thing in my book. Of course, if you want to make people sick, I guess it is. But for health purposes, it's a very bad thing. The white paper is not written in scientific jargon. It's written in plain English, but the scientific citations are there if you choose to read them yourself. They're all available, nothing hidden. The only thing that's hidden is the fact that USA Today, a supposedly mainstream and supposedly authoritative source, this supposedly authoritative source has chosen to make these absolutely false statements for some reason. The reason is hidden. We can infer, but we don't know what it is. I don't speculate on what it is. I just do point out that their fact-check journalism is supported by Facebook. What could possibly go wrong? So if you go to the link below, you'll be able to access the white paper that I have written looking at science. And I did not cherry pick it to toss out anything that disagreed with my conclusion. I found reliable science from non-commercial sources. And that science says masking is political theater. Now, in order to deal with this, because lots of people are reporting that they're being mobbed by people who say, you're selfish, you should put on a mask, you're endangering me. Excuse me, if your mask works, then my not being masked has no effect on you, just like people who say, by not vaccinating your kid, you're endangering my vaccinated kid. No, if vaccination works, my kid can get sick and yours won't. Of course, vaccination doesn't work. That's another discussion. So what we've done is create a legally protected advanced medical directive, a direction that you give to hospitals or stores or doctors or schools or employers saying, I do or don't want this to happen. Do not resuscitate is an advanced medical directive supported by the courts. We have an advanced vaccine directive that says, I refuse all vaccines. And you can purchase that at this link. But we also have coming an advanced sanitary masking directive that allows you to hold up your card that you've signed and duly indicated the validity of and say, under the Americans with Disabilities Act, signed in 1990 by President George Bush and revised in 2009, under that law in the United States, I can declare that I have a health reason, mental, physical, emotional, for not masking, and no one is able to challenge you, demand verification, ask you about the disability, segregate you, or discriminate against you on the basis of your declared protection by the umbrella provided by the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Can't mask, don't ask.
Can't
Good.
mask, don't ask, because if you do ask Target or Walmart or Trader Joe's or whatever, or doctor's office or school or whatever environment, if you do ask, you are rendering yourself possibly liable to criminal charges and fines, because it is a crime under the Americans with Disabilities Act to discriminate against or to demand documentation or verification of a person's disability. When I go with my service dog into any environment in the United States, if somebody says to me, "Oh yeah, what's your dog for?" That's a crime. And I usually say pleasantly, they don't start out that unpleasant. I usually say, "Oh, he keeps me out of trouble," which is true. And that's all that needs to be said. "Oh, masking is likely to undermine my health." That's all you need to say. And the card offers a legal and psychologically effective, a legally and psychologically effective substantiation. Here is my verification, all that I need to provide to you. We are expecting the shipment of the first order of those cards, and we have reduced the price substantially for both advanced vaccine and advanced sanitary masking directive cards, because we want as many people as possible to use them. We're covering shipping and handling. We urge you to go to this link where you can find the information about and the method for purchasing the advanced directives. You have the right of informed consent, but only if you assert it properly and you use it. Because if you don't, it's deemed waived and they can do anything they want to your body. Ralph?
If a few thousand use the Advanced Vaccine Directive Gold Card or the Sanitary Masking Medical Directive Silver Card, it's an expression of their beliefs. But if hundreds of thousands or millions of people began to use those cards, it would be a powerful expression, a political expression that's needed right now to protect your informed consent rights. So you support the Natural Solutions Foundation and you assert your rights at the same time. As Dr. Rima noted, if you don't assert your rights, they are deemed waived, as we lawyers sometimes say. Go to the sites that are on the screen and we will be happy to help you express your rights. Thank you.
One more thing. Share this video. Tell people that they too have the right to refuse vaccines should they wisely choose to do so, and refuse to mask should they wisely choose to do so. Thank you.